Yes. No worries. Let's start over again. So whenever you're ready, Derek.
Ready.
Hell yeah, welcome to our Quebec radio show, Prescription Punk Rock, my friend. I'm going to introduce yourself.
My name is Derek Green. I'm the lead vocalist of Sepultura.
Welcome to our Quebec radio show, Derek. It's such an honor to have you. Since you joined Sepultura, you guys have such a crazy ride. But the new upcoming records, Quadra, is something really special. I know it's a conceptual record. So for people that didn't heard the concept, I was creating the records and how you guys came with that concept.
Well, Andreas was the one that came up with the idea early in 2019, before any music was written. And so usually for us, we like to talk about what direction we're going to go before we get into writing an album. And he had been reading a book called Quadrivium, and that's basically the four classic liberal arts of number, geometry, music, and cosmology, combining those. And so within that, he had an idea of four, the number four being very significant. The four classic liberal arts, the four members of the band, the four horsemen. It was very significant. And so in numerology also, the number four is a number that manifests a lot of power. And that's how we've always, as a group, as a four-piece group, coming together, being able to create something very powerful on stage and in the studio. And so Quadra, actually, that name itself is Portuguese for, it's a playing field and for games, like a court. And within that court, you have rules that you abide by. And that's how it was kind of like a metaphor for life. Each person is born in different quadras, and there's different laws that you abide by that are given to you from birth. You abide by those laws, or at least that's what you feel you should do. And it's about questioning, those things that you're born with, questioning your surroundings, and the album is going deep into dealing with certain topics that are having to deal with, people being in different parts of the world and certain things that were taught to them, certain things learning and how to break out of their quadra, or either how to deal with being within that quadra. So, the album goes very deep and very personal, and it brings out a lot of power from these certain topics.
It's so true, and I mean the whole universe. It's all about number. I mean, mathematics is everywhere, and everything is kind of calculate. And you mentioned it. The number four is such strong, and I think it's a great concept because Sepultura always been a strong, live act performance. It's all about power, and I think that collide together, it bring something very different that you guys did, but still Sepultura.
Right, absolutely. I mean, also at the very beginning phase, we wanted to break the album into four parts, basically, where we saw it as two albums, side A, B, C, and D, and in each of those parts, we wanted to showcase certain elements that have been a part of Sepultura history, but also be original in the songwriting and writing something that we haven't done before. So we're able to capture a lot of certain elements from certain phases of Sepultura throughout these different parts on the album.
Is it more easy now with the experience to record and create a record, or is still something that can be a hard challenge?
Well, I think the challenge it definitely comes in the recording process. The writing process and has become smoother in a sense where we've become more natural at doing it. We've become more comfortable. We're able to. I think we've gotten better at our instruments. There's a lot of positives that come from that. The challenging part is definitely the demand you put on yourself to want to do the best performance while you're in the studio, and that's always a challenge. And the more difficult your work becomes, or the more challenging it becomes to record that as well and to perform that live. You have to really train yourself and practice and really work hard and stay disciplined in order to be able to achieve that on stage and in the studio.
Yeah, to recreate that on stage, but I think it's always the force of Sepultura. I mean, like, you always been, a live band. I mean, like, studio album are crazy, but when you see you guys, the force is there with the energy of the crowd. It's something really special that you don't see a lot.
Well, I agree. I mean, we enjoy touring, and we feel it's vital for the band as well. It's something that's always very significant for the band, even before I was in it. And it's something that drew me to Sepultura as well. The live performance, this is something that drew me and got me into music, seeing live performance of bands. And for me, it's always something that's extremely important to be able to pull, these heavy songs off live.
It's so true. And I mean, you've been, I think, in the band since more than 20 years.
Right.
How crazy. Do you remember when you got the call from the guys saying, okay, you're in, and the first gig you did with Sepultura?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the most exciting moment. One of the biggest highlights of being in the band was getting that phone call. I know exactly where I was and what I was doing, and I was just in disbelief. I just could not believe that what was happening. But at the same time, I felt very connected from meeting the guys and the process that was happening in order for me to be a part of the band. So it was nerve-wracking, the first show. It was terrifying. But we had so much great support from friends and family that helped, and I just wanted to really get it out of the way so we could grow as a band and progress and evolve.
And that's another thing. It's really tough to replace somebody, and it's kind of tough with the fans because they kind of disappointed of, their,
right.
The lineup change and everything. But one thing that you guys achieve, and it's through the performance and live, it was like the first records was kind of well received in a way. After the tour, everybody just forget about the past and stick to the present. And for 20 years, I mean, you grow up so big with new fans, and the whole fans came back, and it's hard to achieve. Not much band, succeed doing that.
I agree. It takes a lot of work. I mean, there's going to be moments where there's feeling things are very low, because people don't like change most of the time. It's scary for them, in general in life. And so, but change at the same time can be a good thing, depending on how you look at it and depending on where your head is at. The positive mindset, is extremely important. But with fans, you have to respect them, and at the same time, you have to respect yourself and do what you feel is right. And so I think fans can respect that as well. Seeing that the artist is able to come out on stage and to help, be able to hold your head up and feel free to do what you want to do. It's very, very important. I think for us, we just never stopped. We just really felt that we had to challenge ourselves in a lot of ways to get better and better and to grow to something that's, where other people can really see that. And you're right, there's a lot of new fans that came along through those 20 years, which really helped. And I think also having a shift with Eloy Casagrande really helped a lot. Our drummer now. I mean, he added so much energy to the band for all of us and kicked like entirely new life into Sepultura.
And he's crazy. I mean, like, I saw him live. It's just too insane.
Yeah, he's a monster on drums, and it's mind-blowing, He's such a great musician, and being so young, he's only going to get better. So for us, we're learning so much through him, together, and just really fascinating to see him play.
And it's cool. You guys gonna embrace a huge tour for the new records. You're gonna visit almost every country. It's crazy.
Yeah, something that we love to do is to go to every place that we possibly can in the world. And I'm looking forward to the first part of the touring cycle. We're going to do a tour in North America starting in March, mid-March, going into end of April. And it's with Sacred Reich, Crowbar, and Art of Shock. I'm really looking forward to that North American tour coming up.
It's cool because I know you guys always been huge friends with Crowbar, so being able to tour with them, it might be like having your old high school friends back together a couple of years later.
It's always great to tour with friends. We're also very good friends with Sacred Reich, and Sepultura and Sacred Reich have been friends and touring together from the very beginning, from when Sepultura first came to America. So it's a pleasure, it's an honor to share the stage with great musicians from Crowbar and Sacred Reich, and also have them as friends, is something fantastic. And it makes it all the more fun. And I'm really so stoked about the package and where we're going.
And I want to thank you. Never forget about Quebec. Quebec always been a huge part of Sepultura, and you never forget about it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, man. I love coming to that part of Canada, and I loved it as many shows as possible there. The fans have always been very consistent, very positive, and it's always one of the best shows that we've always are doing in North America, always in Canada.
Winter is such a pain in the ass here, so when you guys come, you're kind of our sunshine, man.
Yeah, I hear it. We have to bring that Brazilian heat.
It keeps us warm, metal warm.
Yeah, I know. Well, thank God we're not going there in the middle of winter, but we'll go where we need to go. So, it wouldn't stop us at all either.
At that point, after 20 years and more, I don't think anything can stop you guys.
True.
Derek, thank you so much for your times. Guys,
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
Have a blast on tour. Keep on doing what you do, pushing yourself on every records. Quadra's going to be released in a couple of weeks. People go grab the record physically. Buy the vinyl. There's bundle on Nuclear Blast Records. Cheap price. Encourage the band.
Oh, yeah, definitely buy the bundle and everything, because with that you get the documentary movie that's been out called Endurance about Sepultura. And we're really excited for people finally in America and Europe are able to see it, because it's been out on Netflix Latin America. And it's a great documentary to check out to see some really cool history of Sepultura.
Guys, thank you for your time. Before we leave, can you do us like a really simple, quick ID, just saying, "Hi, this is Derek. You listen to Prescription Punk Rock."
Yes. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Hey, this is Derek from Sepultura. You're listening to Prescription Punk Rock.
Thank you so much, Derek. Thank you for your time and generosity. Hope to see you in Quebec City somewhere, and make sure I'm going to see you grab shake hands and everything. And thank you again for the generosity, and say thank you to everyone in the band.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview. Take care, man. Goodbye.
Take care on your rush, on your media rush. Thank you.
All right, man.
Bye, Derek.